Hi there. Thanks for joining me in Melinda's Rubber Room. I'm Melinda Pierce and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I'm here today to show you this fun fold technique using designer series paper. I'm going to call it the zigzag DSP fold. So it's a pretty easy fold to do. All you have are these designer series paper strips that are folded and adhered to the paper, adhered to your white cardstock. So I'm going to point you down and show you my work surface so you can see all the details. I'm going to do this card from start to finish, so hopefully you can just follow along and hopefully do the card with me. All right. Let me get my camera situated here. Alrighty, so today I am using Pacific Point designer series paper and the coordinating cardstock from Stampin' Up. This paper is a 6x6 sheet of paper from the, I believe it's the Bold Brights collection of designer series paper in the current Stampin' Up! Catalog. So we're going to start by cutting the base of our card, and we're going to cut that at 5.5. And score it at 4.25. And just go ahead and fold on that score line. And then I've already cut a piece of Whisper white cardstock. And this piece is a little bit larger than we normally put as a mat on our card. And you need it to be a little bit larger in order to fit the diagonal fold of the designer series paper. So the white cardstock measures 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. That's this one here. So this is the base at 5.5 by 8.5 and scored at 4 1/4. And then the white cardstock, you need 2 of those that measure 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. Okay, and then on the DSP, you're going to need 5 pieces that measure 1 inch by 2.5, and 1 piece that measures 1/2 inch by 5 1/4. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut my designer series paper. So I need 2.5. I'm going to cut the large area first. So that's 2.5, and I need 1 inch pieces. 1, 2, so you'll be able to see that you can do this card with 1 sheet of 6x6 designer series paper and actually have some paper left over. So there are my 5 strips of designer series paper. And then I need 1/2 inch. So on the Stampin' Up! Trimmer, don't forget that you have measurements on both sides of your cutting strip. So sometimes that it's easier to measure on this side for the smaller measurements. So I'm just going to slide this over to 1/2 inch. So you can see that I have a large piece of designer series paper to hold on to. So that makes it easier to cut on this other side of the trimmer. Okay, so that is my 1/2 inch piece, and I'm going to cut that down to 5 1/4. Actually, I'm going to do it at 5 3/8, and that way it will cover my front of my white piece of cardstock like that. Okay, so now all we have to do is fold our designer series paper. And what you want to do is take this left corner and fold it over to the horizontal edge of your paper. So you're creating a little triangle. And then you're taking the opposite corner and folding that up to the opposite horizontal or vertical edge, depending on how you're placing it. Okay, so you should have a piece like that. So you're going to do 3 pieces that are in that same configuration. So left to right, right to left. And you'll notice that depending on how you fold your designer series paper, you're going to see more or less of the opposite side of your paper. So on this one, I had the circles facing up. This time I'm having the circles facing down. Left to right, right to left. Okay, so there are my 3 pieces that are the same. Now I'm going to go the opposite direction. So right to left. You want to make sure that this point on the ends is nice and pointy. That will make a difference. And then left to right. So you can see how these 2 are different from each other. This one goes from left to right, this goes from right to left. And then this one is going to go right to left. And left to right. Alrighty. So now all we do is go ahead and lay our triangles down. So you want to go ahead and easier said than done. Let's see, put this one up first. So you're going to line up your edge on the top like so, and then your next one is going to go like that, marrying up those little triangles that you made. And you also want to make sure that you're lining up this edge to your edge of your paper. That will make a difference for your final outcome as well. So you're alternating your triangles. Like, that one's not right. Let's do that one over. There we go. So you actually need 3 that are facing this way, going from right to left and left to right. And then those all get adhered down like that. Let me see if I can get my adhesive. Kind of have things packed away right now. We're getting ready to go on a little trip. And I had to scale down what I'm taking on my trip. Of course, I have to take my stamping supplies, but I can't take everything. So some things are packed away, some things aren't. All right, mounting up our points. Making sure that the point is hitting the edge of the paper. I'm going to move that over just a tad. This is a great way to use up your designer series paper. You don't need a whole lot of it. So if you just have little pieces of designer series paper left, it's a good way to use those up. And it's nice that you can see both sides of your designer series paper. Sometimes you feel like you're wasting your designer series paper because you don't get to see both of the beautiful sides of the paper. So this is one way that you can see both sides. Okay, so I don't know if you can tell, but I'm just trying to adjust some of these folds so that I'm going from all the way to the top, all the way down to the bottom, and my edges are meeting on the sides. Okay, so now I'm just going to adhere this down to my base cardstock. Like so. And then all we have to do is add our little designer series paper here. I'm trying to decide which side I want. I think I'm going to go with the opposite side this time. Always fun to mix things up just a little bit. I'm going to put this right on the edge. Like so. And then all we have to do is our greeting. So I already stamped the thank you on my Whisper White. I'm going to use my banner punch. I'm going to slide this right in. And I'm going to look at the back to make sure that this point on my punch is going pretty close to the center of my banner. Now I cut the paper a little bit smaller than what's required for this layer of the banner, just because my thank you was kind of a smaller thank you stamp, and I didn't want a whole lot of white showing around it. Okay, that looks about right. So this center of the point is going towards the center of the banner. I'm just going to punch that so you can see how that made that angle. Now I'm going to take the cut piece and I'm going to use that as a guide for my next punch. So I want the edges of my banner to be pretty much symmetrical on both sides. So I'm going to take this piece. It's probably a little hard to see on the camera, but I just took this cutoff piece, and that's where the punch is going to punch again the second time. Okay, so now I know that my banner is going to be roughly the same on both edges. Just going to feed this in here. Be easier with my Pick-a tool, but I don't have that handy right now. Again, I'm going to make sure that that point is centered and snip. So now you can see both edges of my banner are pretty symmetrical to the words. Now I have a piece of the Bermuda, a Pacific point. I keep calling this Bermuda. I'm going to do the same thing. Go ahead and punch that. This time I'm going to lay this right on top so I can see how much of a distance I want from the other banner. Go ahead and lay my cut piece down right along the top banner. And this will give me an idea of how long my matte banner should be. I'm going to go ahead and lay that down into my punch. What's nice about this punch is you get a symmetrical, you can get a symmetrical edge all the way around as a mat. So you get a nice matte label, like so. I'm just going to glue that down. And then raise this up on dimensionals. Don't forget we have the dimensionals in 2 different sizes. So for the smaller banner, it's nice to use the little ones. And just go ahead and attach that like so. And there is my completed card. Here was my original one. And this was one that I made the other day. I didn't put a greeting on this one yet. All right. Hope you enjoyed that video. Hope you learned something, and thanks for stopping in. Take care. Bye-bye.